Hi, I'm Lottie.
And I'm Christian.
And we're Circus District.
Your source for online news, classes, and all things circus in Washington, D.C.
Thanks for being here.
Hey everyone, Christian here to provide your most formal introduction to the Circus District YouTube channel. I want to let you know up front that this video may contain coarse language. It also includes discussions about sexuality and gender identity, which I hope will inspire conversations in your own household. We know that the DMV circus community is kind, loving, and respectful, and we wish to keep it that way on our YouTube channel. If you wish to continue with subtitles, please click the CC button on your video screen right now. With that, please enjoy the video. So hello everyone, and welcome to the Pride Month interview series for the Circus District. We are so happy to have an extremely talented cast of circus humans joining us for these discussions. This series is meant to highlight the multifaceted LGBTQIA+ community of circus artists in the DMV and to illustrate that pride is not a static concept with one set definition. Pride means many different things to many different people, and we are here to celebrate that. To give you some background, if you're just meeting us, Circus District is the online community of circus in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. We provide a weekly here and now roundup of virtual and in-person events, and we also publish regular articles on Dispatch, your source for local news, academics, book reviews, and more, everything circus. As you watch these interviews on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, don't forget that we have an actual website, www.circusdistrict.com, where you can find plenty of local resources and information to help you along on your circus journey. You can contact us by emailing circusdistrict@gmail.com or messaging us on Facebook or Instagram. So my name is Christian Klock. My pronouns are he/him. I started doing circus at age 6 when I learned to juggle and just fell in love with it, and have been absolutely amazed at the kinds of humans that it has allowed me to meet and get to know over the past however long it's been, 27 years. I am one of the co-founders of the Circus District, and I've been performing and teaching juggling full-time since 2016. I'm also celebrating Pride as a queer and gay individual. So my guest today, who I'm very happy to see again, is the incomparable performer, producer, and host GiGi Holliday. GiGi started doing burlesque in 2010 as a graduate of Trixie Little's burlesque boot camp in Baltimore, I believe that was. Okay, great. And has since graced stages and produced shows across the country. She was one of the first burlesque performers to appear on stage at the historic Howard Theater in more than 60 years. She also manages G Squared Productions, where she is the founder and producer of Zuzu Burlesque Review, Chocolate Lounge Performers of Color Burlesque Variety Show, and La Burlesque Follies with Palace Productions. So I'm so delighted to have you here today to join us for this Pride Month interview series. First, if you would like to say your name, your pronouns, and also where you grew up and where you're currently based, that would be lovely.
Yes, my name is GiGi Holliday. My pronouns are she, her. And I was born, raised, living, and somewhat loving Washington, D.C. I'm definitely a hometown hero that left, came back, and just went, yeah, I'm staying here.
That's funny because I was just talking to C. Griffin, and they also did a similar transition where it was like, I kind of lost my way for a while and I came back. So
yeah, I lost my way as like a teenager, and my parents moved to Maryland. And it was just like, I don't want to be here. I want to be in DC. I want to take the bus. Like, I want to go to the corner store. They can't do this in the suburbs. And went to college and came back and literally told my parents, yeah, I'm moving back to DC. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Suburban life is not for me.
So there is no place quite like DC, and that's one of the things that this series is celebrating, is that we have such an incredible community of artists in Washington, DC. So let's just go sort of like big picture, but also like I feel like this is going to cover a lot of things. Let's talk about pride and what that word means to you, and also like how that has evolved over time.
Oh my goodness. I was scared to come out of the closet for so long. And then I was thrusted out of the closet. You know, I'm one of those people that did not have a good coming out story. But my coming out story was bad to my friends, but actually a little bit more welcoming to my parents. They were just like, okay, cool. You're fine. You're safe. You're here. No one's gonna harm you. But it was just more of like, but my friends, my mom's like, they don't matter. Like, how do you feel that you said that you were bisexual? Like, and when I came out as bisexual, it was also that, I'm the invisible bee, you know, I don't exist. And I'm like, no, I definitely exist. So it took a while morphing into and like getting comfortable in my skin with it because I'm not gonna lie, society does not make it hard for anyone who's queer, but also anyone who's bisexual because they're just like, you're doing it for attention. And I'm like, no, I'm actually doing it because I definitely do love both. Like this is a thing. Hot dogs and tacos. Let me go. And then after a while, I learned about the term pansexual and seeing all of my friends who are, a good chunk of my friends who are non-binary, who a chunk of my friends are trans. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm that too. So right now I'm riding this fun wave of being bisexual and pansexual and trying to find like what is my groove. But yeah, growing growing up in a very religious, I was raised Jehovah Witness. So growing up and then letting go of that, but then also saying, I'm bisexual, like I like everything and growing from that and then learning the term pansexual and understanding maybe that's my section right now. But like I said, I am in this fun, great wave of being in between both and trying to decide. And either way, everyone's getting fucked.
And this is like a very good reminder that like oftentimes like you have people in your life, and I'm saying people because it might be that your family is super supportive and your friends have a hard time with it, or it's the other way around, which is frequently the case. But you might have people in your life that challenge you and feel not supportive. And I feel like oftentimes the hard mindset to have, but the important mindset to have is that like those people are there for something else, some reason, and then whoever is there to support and uplift me, that's the person I latch on to, and that's who I look forward to. And even if that person doesn't exist in your life right now, trying to just cultivate that or find small ways to come out to yourself in some ways
Yes, it was
is
very hard to come out to myself at first.
yeah.
Like coming out to people is one thing, but coming out to yourself is another. And I'm also very thankful for the friends that stayed with me and got rid of, and I do mean got rid of their homophobia to where they have said, if I love you, I must love all of you. And that clicked. Like to hear, my friends, even my sister say that, who's a minister, to say, if I love you, I love all of you.
That's incredible.
Like, oh, oh, I'm trying not to cry, but yeah, like shout out to my mom and dad who were just like, yeah, okay, you're queer, you're bisexual, I don't give a fuck. Like they just like pass the peas. What do you want me to do?
As somebody who was once in, I think we went to Wendy's for drive-through, and I was coming out to my friends in small doses at that time, and I thought, why not? Because a lot of people ask like, what's the right time, and oftentimes you don't know the right time, and so you just kind of figure out that like whenever is the right time to say it, and it can feel dangerous and difficult, but when you do it, um, it's amazing. So yeah, I came out to somebody in the Wendy's drive-through.
I love that. Did you get a 444 afterwards? I would get a
Probably, yeah. We definitely
4.
ate a lot of unhealthy food afterwards, which is a great thing to do after you share something honest or vulnerable about yourself. So,
Agreed.
so talk a little bit about your burlesque journey because that started, I believe, in 2010, maybe a little bit before that, because I know this is when you graduated from the burlesque program in Baltimore, and how maybe that has intersected with some of your coming out journey and being more comfortable as not only a person but also as a performer.
Ooh, that's a great question. Yes. So I learned the art of tease and graduated in the same year, 2010. Um, I thought it was, I really do feel like I am, when it comes to my queerness and me realizing that I was queer, I am definitely that Marge Simpson meme. I just think they're neat. Literally in queer spaces, feeling comfortable, even in college, going to queer parties, like this is fun. They got food, they got music. I'm having a great time. It didn't hit until I guess year 2 of my burlesque journey of this is like I am very attracted to like it was just like I'm very attracted to women. Like I'm very attracted to this woman, you know. And I'm very thankful that the person that I went on a date with, lovely young lady, we went on a date with, you know, ended up going like, "Hey, I know you're queer. I can tell. You probably don't know it, but I can tell. Let's discuss." And I thank them for being my first in a lot and my first girlfriend in a lot. And I also thank them to coming with a lot of burlesque performances with me. Having that, it was like another shield because, you know, I was very afraid. You know, taking off your clothes is one thing, revealing yourself is another. And I had to confront myself and go, why are you so comfortable being half naked, but you are uncomfortable knowing that you want to kiss that woman over there and that woman wants to kiss you? Something's amiss. You got to fix this. And I was like, yeah, yeah, you're right, body, your brain, you're right, being. And I'm glad that burlesque was the one that helped me reveal my true self. Burlesque was the one that was just like, you can put on this makeup, you can put on this hair, you can put on this costume, you can do all these things. But are you really you? Are you vulnerable? Are you open? You know, like, are you telling people that you're queer? You should, because that is a part of your identity. Are you, you know, proud? Are you loud and proud? You need to be loud and proud. This is you. This is you. And so without burlesque, I don't think I would have, for my journey, without burlesque, I don't think I would have ever
That's
done it.
incredible. Yeah, so that just really illustrates how not just burlesque as a discipline, but also a lot of these disciplines that get us up on stage and say, be proud of yourself. We don't really realize right away what it's doing to us, but then later in life that becomes clear of like the effect that has on people. And you don't have to be even in the LGBTQI plus community to realize that just how powerful that can be in boosting
Yeah,
your
there's
confidence and being honest about yourself. Yeah.
yes, something's gonna click.
Yeah.
Something's gonna click for someone. One day you're gonna be like, this isn't how I want to live. You know, I want to live a little bit better. There's a life coach called Ayana Von Zant, and I will never forget what she said. She was, you know, married in a heterosexual relationship and said, this man was not loving me the way that I deserve to be loved. And I had to walk away of 15 years of marriage. And I remember hearing that going, I never want to like realize deep in that something's not right and I'm not being loved the way that and I made once I clicked that in my head, that clicked me going, but then you need to be honest about who you are.
Absolutely. I'd love to read you this quote from. It was a tweet that actually came to my attention because Janelle Monáe reposted this. Yes, and
Queer icon,
I
okay?
thought, of course, we absolutely stand Janelle Monáe, but I thought, oh wow, what beautiful words. And then, as usual with like the internet, I was like, oh, she gave this person credit. So this is from Alexander Leone, who I think published this in January of 2020. Very, very intense time for a lot of us. He
Yes.
said, queer people don't grow up as ourselves. We grow up playing a version of ourselves that sacrifices authenticity to minimize humiliation and prejudice. The massive task of our adult lives is to unpick which parts of ourselves are truly us and which parts we've created to protect us. So, do you feel that there is actually a few more things to like read from that, but I'll let people look it up. It's Alexander Leon, so they
First
should
of all,
check
can
out
you
that
send
full quote. But do you feel that that's been your experience, particularly on stage and like sort of wearing different masks?
Oh, yes. First of all, you have to send that to me. You have
Oh,
to
yeah.
send that to me.
I
There.
saw it and was like,
Oh,
yeah,
and yes, being black, being indigenous, and not fully showing like I get it. I'm black and indigenous, and every time someone sees me, they just go black woman. And I'm like, there's a lot more here than just black woman. I'm actually black indigenous, families from the Tulsa massacre, like all these things, you know. So immediately society sees me as black woman. I already got two strikes against me. You add the indigenous, you add the queer, you add the sex worker, and now everyone has their fist ball towards me. So what do? I don't want that fist ball towards me. Put on a mask. Yeah, I'm straight. Sure, whatever. Like whatever floats your boat. Yeah. This is my hair. Yeah, okay, sure. All the things, all the things you're oh my God. I'm sorry. That quote just really
Yeah, I didn't mean to quite like spring that on you and rock you like that, but yeah, I just felt like it
but
really
I
captured a lot of how I felt about not only growing up like queer, but also performing. It's a thing where we like put on a face, and sometimes that's a coping mechanism, and sometimes it's actually a way to celebrate our identities.
exactly. One of the things that I have said a lot is that I am a beautiful mosaic of every Black woman that I have come across. And that Black woman may be trans, that Black woman may have AIDS, that Black woman may be a single mother, that Black woman may be newly queer, so I'm a beautiful mosaic of all these beautiful Black women, that are in my life, that, what do I say, past, present, and the people I haven't met yet. But it is, that quote resonates because you're right. You have to wear this mask. Putting on the eyelashes is just one layer, but like you have to go outside and be like, okay, let me be careful trying to go to to the club. I have definitely been in situations where there have been, men upset that I'm leaving out a lesbian club. How dare you go in there? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, leave me alone. But then also, no, I'm just there with a friend. Please leave me alone. So it's that part where you want to fight back, you want to ball your fist up, but the other part is like, please leave me be, because I don't want to end up. The one thing that I say a lot, I don't want to end up a hashtag. Not like that. Not like that. So that quote, please send it to me because there are so many other people that
Absolutely.
definitely need to hear that.
Yeah, I definitely
Because
know.
we do have to, you do have to put on a mask. I have to be mindful not to say that I'm queer sometimes. That sucks. Because you never know who you're around. You never know. You never know if someone's going to say something to you. And try doing that and being half naked.
So yeah, this is a good transition, but it is a reminder that even though we have big corporations putting up the rainbow flag or even the Progress Pride flag that was created in Philadelphia more recently to acknowledge BIPOC's involvement
Mhm.
in this struggle and how they need to be forefront in order for us to get.
Right.
Um, but it's a reminder that even though we have all of these popular references, that a lot of people who grew up with this struggle are saying it's not over. A lot of people are still struggling or having to wear masks. Let's talk a little bit about. You've been so good about talking about the distinction between burlesque and stripping. Oftentimes, people, especially I've heard a few in the circus community for sure, who have said like, "Oh, burlesque, that's just taking your clothes off. That's just stripping." And I feel like the supposition is also that like there's something bad about stripping, which is not the case. And I think you've said very well, like both of these things are a hustle, which is absolutely something that we as artists can relate to. They're slightly different in their aims and how they approach it, but they're both a hustle and they deserve, as a result, respect and being honored contributions, like being an honored work that deserves our respect and our esteem. So that's one of the things that we want to remind our viewers of and our listeners is that this is a respectable art form, and whether somebody is stripping or doing burlesque, both of those are totally fine and valid.
Correct.
So talk a little bit about that distinction, and also when you got into burlesque, like what that was like, what kind of things that you could say with burlesque that allowed you to express more.
Ooh. Well, the first thing I have to say about burlesque and stripping, I will never put two bad bitches against each other. That's like saying who's a better singer, Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston. First of all, they both are phenomenal artists. Why would you put them against each other? So I like to think as burlesque and strippers are little or sisters. They're under the same sex worker family. You know, their mother may have been a prostitute and their dad's a pimp. Somebody, they're sisters, you know. You would not have stripping if it wasn't for burlesque, and you wouldn't have the neo burlesque revival if it wasn't for stripping. So again, I will never put two bad bitches against each other, but there is a difference. The hustle of being a stripper is different. I have been a commercial strip club stripper. Um, I enjoyed it. I was young. I was younger at the time, and I think now doing it, it's a different mind. I have a different mindset. Even during this pandemic, I went back to stripping as a virtual strip club stripper. And we strip on Zoom. Uh,
Like everything else in the pandemic.
like yeah, like everything else in the pandemic. And I still had to make my money. Again, it's a different hustle, and it's more of a cam girl hustle, but it's still a hustle. Um, and yeah, it's just for me, it's one and the same. I feel like I can't have one without the other. And it's sad that people definitely do think stripper is lowbrow and burlesque is highbrow, where I'm just like, well, both of them are great business mindsets. Like, they're great business mindsets. I remember having to tell, I used to I used to work in a school system and was an office manager and all those things. And I remember when the director of, I think it was marketing no, membership, because it was for a gym. Director of membership said, when I think stripper, I think lowbrow. And I said, wow, that's very sad. And she was like, what do you mean by that? And I said, because when I think stripper, I think someone that can take care of themselves, like business mindset. They know their clients, they know their customers, they know what works. But y'all still over here making policies and procedures about how to bring people into your gym. She already knows how to do it. It's not that hard. So where I even had to tell them, I was like, oh, y'all are so impressed by my selling skills. I used to work at a strip club. Of course, their faces are dropping. They're just like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Of course, I know how to sell this. Of course, I know how to talk to people. I've had to talk to all types of people in the strip club and in the burlesque world. And in the burlesque world, like you do have some people. I need people to understand that there are audience members who come to burlesque shows because they were kicked out of strip clubs for how they acted. They now come to another place. It's a little bit more safer. No one's really going to call them out. And then that's when we end up having those missing stairs issues. See where I'm going? Things like that. You had another part of the question in my ADHD brain.
No. I think you covered that extremely well. And talking about the pandemic and the time that we'd had, which has certainly been traumatic in so many different ways. How has it also maybe given you time to reflect on where the burlesque and variety and performance business is, and sort of where we want it to be as it comes back, even if it's in small ways of.
What sucks is that we're still having the conversation regarding pay and worthiness. No one could have gotten through this pandemic if it wasn't for art. And I say that as someone that is one of the adults on TikTok. TikTok exposed so much of that art means a lot. And that's the thing. Like, everyone feels like, oh, we don't need artists. But now you're bored at home. Now you're watching Netflix, and now everyone's watching Tiger King. And is it real? Is it fake? It's reality, but let me also show you some juggling. Let me also show you burlesque. Let me also show you music. It's one of those things where we all had to change how our internet is not internet entertainment. Well, we also probably did have to change our internet. Let's not lie. We probably had to upgrade. All right, it's okay.
Yeah, through that cord for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Who knew that we would need something that I was using in college? Who knew? Who knew? That's still
And
like
people are making sourdough, and it's like, yeah, it's definitely back to the
it's back to the
well,
ye
steady
olde
time.
golden times.
Yeah.
You know, we were one step away from bringing back AOL AIM and MySpace. We were one step away. But but it also had us change how we view entertainment. Even I will say, even for me, I purchased a huge television thinking, yes, I'm in the house, I'm gonna watch this 55-inch television. Guess what I'm doing most of the time? On TikTok, watching people do skits, hours on end. That's entertainment. Or I will not watch a television show because, especially if it's streaming, I can stop it and watch my friend's Zoom show. The way we view entertainment and the way, especially the way I view entertainment, has changed like drastically. You don't have to be live, you can be present on this screen, you know. So it also got me to, this pandemic got me to learn how to film and edit and lighting. I'm so good at lighting now. Especially black and brown skin. Like I literally end up watching movie after movie of going like, okay, so that's how they lit that person. All right. You know. But I had to learn, and I had to learn, should I put this? There were so many things stopping me before from filming and editing and learning. I just thought it was so hard and so difficult, and I don't have the time. The universe literally said, and pandemic, you now have the time. Let's learn about lighting. Let's learn about this, to where I have created and edited videos. I've done cooking shows. I've done burlesque shows. I've done burlesque videos. I've hosted shows, all from the comfort of my living room, and still made quite a mint. You know, you also realize that there are other things that need to be done. I've been hired as someone's stage manager for a virtual show where I'm just making sure that things are running smoothly. Or oh, what's the other one I did? I was a consultant for someone, you know. Um, there was one time I just had to just turn on the Zoom and use my internet connection. That's what they needed. So it created different avenues for us to do our art, you know. Now we realize how important the stage manager is. Now we realize how important the lighting technician is. You know, my thing that I always tell people is that this pandemic, I did not expect to be Tyler Perry Studios with better wigs and a better plot line. But here I am. And the fact that during this pandemic, he opened up his own studio. This is just the beginning, you know. So we all learned something. Even the people who are taking in the art, they all learned something. You know, also I would say this. So all the people who got OnlyFans during this pandemic, check in on it, baby. You still doing good? I hope you're doing good. Hopefully you did not forget about it like I did. I forgot my OnlyFans was there. And I forgot it was there because why? There's other means of way I was getting my entertainment out there. You know,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah, that's incredible. I think this also highlights when you were talking about having like a cable package and being like, oh, surely, like with this many channels, I'll find something that I can relate to. I'll find something that is entertaining. I'll find something that will get me through months or years just sitting at home in my living room. But it is often that having this local art scene gives us the freedom to say what we want to say, to include the people that we want to include, and to be this unique source of entertainment that actually speaks to somebody's like locale, exactly where they live.
yes.
And so I feel like being in shows with you, I've seen you do this many times where like you have such a good sense of who is in the show, you have a good sense of who is in the audience, and how to really sell it, whether it's selling a joke or a performance or a burlesque act, like whatever it is. So, what do you think local art really has to offer as we slowly emerge out of our zombie existences and back into theaters and live venues?
Oh, hopefully me. Hopefully me and Christian, like we want to do,
We're gonna put all the social media and the links in the
like we want to do
in the
things.
description. You
And I
can.
will say, you know, during this pandemic, I ended up getting on an international burlesque list, like top. I'm number 40 on the top 50 burlesque list. You know, I did that during a pandemic. Why? Because all of our entertainment, what was zoned in onto the internet, and that's where I was, and that's where you were. For DC, ooh, what I'm hoping is that we get some venues. And I say that because before the pandemic, and you saw it here in DC, where it ended up being more comedy shows and more bands and variety entertainment, such as burlesque and juggling and magic and all this stuff, kind of got like, "Whoop, whoop, we don't need you." And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, who's telling the jokes now? Where you telling the jokes? You ain't telling the jokes nowhere. You know, baby, we both at the unemployment office. So but I want venues to really, really book the burlesque and the variety. Don't be afraid for, if you need the what is it? If you need the credentials for it, get the credentials because it's going to end up working in your favor in the long run. It's going to pay for itself. Um, oh God, I just want like DC venues and DC venues, also DC media. DC media does not pay attention to us unless there is a scandal regarding us. I made this international list and I'm nowhere on the news. And I did this during the pandemic. But guess what was on the news? The insurrection. Granted, I got on the list the next day, but still, But what's on the news now? Cicadas. New York burlesque and New York entertainment had a beautiful article about like where do we go now? The one thing I have to say is the DC kind of already been there before New York. We were there before the pandemic. We were variety entertainers were struggling to find a venue. And even when I told people I do burlesque and I live in DC, they go, "Oh, do you perform at Saks?" And I'm like, "That's technically not a burlesque venue, but okay, sure. I don't." Have you heard of the Howard Theater, Black Cat, things of the other? So I just want venues to be more open to us and to hire us. Hopefully that answered the question.
Absolutely, yeah. When
That's
we're,
pretty much
I
it.
just
I
want
just
to
put
explain that venue. Saks Restaurant and Lounge is a venue that I actually have performed at as well. That
same.
has sort of this like picture frame stage, and they do a lot of performances kind of throughout the evening, combining aerial dance, um, some fire. I think I also did some juggling there. So it was kind of like a fusion of a dance club and a Moulin Rouge looking, but not actually in spirit. Like, so it wasn't necessarily burlesque acts
Yeah,
performing
it
there, just more of an entertainment like club kind of vibe. Yeah.
yes, it gives the essence of burlesque. And I have beautiful people. I know so many people that work there. And even they have came to me and go like, nah, it's not what you do.
And that's a great reminder of like sometimes we think particularly the general public. So like we call them the nuggles in the juggling community. So the people that don't juggle, like
I
um,
call them rubes
we
because
kind
I
of
knew
like
it was like an
we
old
have
circus term.
yeah.
Rubes.
I'm learning lots of new terms in these interviews. But the general public will have this impression that like, oh yeah, Sax, like that nightclub thing, that's burlesque, right? And sometimes it's because they have this image of like the Christina Aguilera movie with burlesque and like these dance numbers and everything, and like, well, yeah, and sometimes they don't wear a lot of clothes, so yeah, that's burlesque, right? And so what you're talking about, everything ties together of like making sure the media is also on top of speaking in an educated fashion about the disciplines that we perform. And oftentimes with burlesque, circus, whatever, sideshow, it all gets kind of lumped into one kind of novelty. That's just a gimmick. It's a novelty. It's outside of the things that we know. So you actually have also a background in education.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how that has informed, uh, like how you see the world of burlesque. Have you sort of felt like you've been an entry point to people getting into burlesque, and then you get to be sort of like their coach, their guide?
Yes. I that's it's so weird when I first started teaching burlesque classes. Uh the same five women kept coming each week. And I was getting nervous. And so finally I just went, "Why are you here? Like why? Why?" And then finally one of the women spoke up and she went, "We want to become burlesque dancers. How?" And I had to create a program with my business partner, Indiana Jules, at the time. Like, we had to create a program and we went, oh my God, people want to become burlesque dancers. And I end up, like you said, I end up being their entry point to where I ended up becoming their burlesque mother. Or if they already have a burlesque mother, I'm still their guide to a point. I become their burlesque aunt. Aunts are cooler than moms, let's be honest. Okay?
They let
Aunts
you
are
eat
a
the bad
way,
cereal. Yeah.
yeah. And I am a burlesque mother, and I take that as serious as being a house mother, in the drag world and in the voguing world. You know, I learned a lot from Paris is Burning, that you don't have to physically give birth to be a mother. And so with a lot of people being the entry point, I'm being their entry point into burlesque. I even say, alrighty, how am I going to play this? I'm going to be the big sister. Am I going to be the aunt? Am I going to be the mom? And learning people's vibes, you realize what they need and at what times. I'm not always a burlesque mother to my burlesque kids. I'm not always a burlesque aunt. Sometimes I'm just a burlesque friend and a burlesque sister. Um, but yeah, being the entry point, it's also good to be an entry point for people because I also used to teach preschool. I was the entry point for little kids getting into the education system and learning how to be themselves and learning how to wash their hands properly. You know,
Very, very important in the last year and a half. Yeah.
yes. Imagine, I will say this side note, imagine already going through the lesson of teaching kids how to wash their hands, and then the pandemic starts, and the kids are like, we just learned this. How the adults don't know how to wash their, like, kids are asking me, well, we just had this lesson, Miss Gigi. Why are you teaching it to us again? I'm not, baby, they making sure the principal right here. They making sure, okay? Actually, I'm not even your teacher no more. I'm just the office administrator. I'm just here to make sure everything's okay. But I digress. But being that entry point for little kids helped me be a better entry point for adults because not everyone knows the burlesque moves. A lot of us are not dancers. A lot of us are just getting the manual to our bodies, you know? So, as I have explained to my staff when I was a teacher, the universe, billions of years old. This kid is 3. They know nothing. You are 20 something. You know nothing. I am, you know, I know nothing compared to how old this universe is. So, we're going to all learn it together, step by step, day by day. And I'm glad that there have been burlesque students that have been like, I can no longer be your mother or any part of you. Like, you have your own journey. And that's one of the things of realizing that you have done enough for that person. And that's another thing about being a burlesque teacher. Sometimes you can only take them so far, and they got to do their own thing. And that's okay. If they fail, they fail. If they thrive, they thrive. If they survive, they survive. But it's all up to them. And it's all up to you. So I definitely do make sure, like, as an entry point to people in burlesque, that I don't sugarcoat it. I don't. And even it's interesting you asked me this question because that's what I'm doing, a TikTok series about my 11 years in burlesque. And like, I'm gonna be real. Y'all all thinks it's sparkly in costumes. No, baby. Sometimes it's looking haggard behind your laptop trying to book the gig. You know, sometimes it's you trying to make sure that you don't get screwed over on a contract and that someone's going to pay you. Sometimes it's you having to be on for hours on end, knowing deep down inside that you want a steak and cheese sandwich and you just want to go home and smoke your weed. It's not all glamorous. There has been racism, there has been sexism, there has been homophobia, transphobia, there has been just anti black, anti age, like so many things. And yet I still do it because the world is already like that.
So
I'm
talk a little bit about when we first got on the call, you were showing off the amazing backdrop you have
yes.
of all the icons of burlesque. So we're running a little low on time, but we still have time. So talk a little bit about maybe a couple of the folks who have inspired your burlesque journey and also taught you a lot about the industry.
Well, I have to tell you about my favorite one of all. Her name is Toni Elling. She
Oh, you were
is,
ready.
yes, oh, I was ready. Oh, because I haven't put her back on my wall yet because I'm doing wallpaper. Uh, but Toni Elling, she is 93, still living. She is my burlesque grandmother. She was best friends with Duke Ellington. He wrote a song about her called The Satin Doll. This is the woman that continues to guide me all throughout burlesque. You know, the moment I met her, it was just instant connection. Same with a lot of these other ladies that are on my, ooh, don't fall, on my wall as well. I have Tiffany Carter, who is actually deaf, you know, so there's that. There's, ooh, what's my girl? Camille 2000, who just passed away not too long ago. Same thing with Lottie the Body up here as well. I have, oh wow, Judith Stein from Canada. This duo right here, I'm gonna, is it okay if I bring my camera closer?
Yeah, please do. Let's go on a journey.
Yes, let's go on a journey. So this duo here, yeah, these two. This is the mom, this is the daughter. I met the daughter getting on an elevator at Burlesque Hall of Fame in Vegas. And she gave me these just off a break. She was like, I have to have them for you. This lovely woman up here uh, was actually a Bond girl, Trina Parks. Met her. Some of the other people I have not met, and it's only because they are unnamed Black burlesque dancers. And that history is really, really hard to find. And I also do have, of course, Queen Mother of all, Josephine Baker. Uh, is, right, I have a bunch of photos around her just ladled around the my apartment because Josephine Baker is my queen. But I also have my friends' pictures as well. I'm gonna actually censor this, but this is her boobies are out. Egypt Black Nile. She is the most award-winning burlesque entertainer of all time. Queer as just lesbian as all get out. Fucking love her. So like we used to work at lesbian strip clubs. And even she's just like, yeah, I'm definitely gay. Definitely a lesbian. And she's even said there are times I've had to hide it because you don't know who I'm around. But she's definitely out and proud. And these beautiful burlesque legends, a lot of them, some of them were out and proud. Some of them had to be quiet about it. There were beautiful trans burlesque dancers, you know, and showgirls, and that history is being revealed slowly, you know. And unfortunately, when they pass away, that we find out. And we just Marinka is another burlesque legend, and and I was just like,
Yeah.
hi, this was me. Oh, okay, cool. Everyone was just like made it a big scandal. And I was like, she's gorgeous. The end. This woman told me at Burlesque Hall of Fame, she saw me when I went to go sit with Toni Elling. She saw me, my top was low cut, and she has a little white dog with her. And she just went, you look fuckable. And I was like, oh, thank you. And the look on my face was, I'm okay. And then I was like, wait, that's Marinka. Like, Marinka just told me I am doable. And I'm so, Mama Toni was there. Miss Toni Elling was there. And I will never forget, Miss Toni Elling grabbed me tighter and went, this one's my baby. And I was like, oh, y'all like to kidnap. Y'all like to figure out who y'all burlesque children gonna be. Okay. So I was up on the chopping block. Somebody was gonna snatch me up. And Mama Toni was like, no, you're mine. But yeah, the burlesque legend, there's so many burlesque legends that are queer, trans, out and proud, or we find out later on in life. And I'm glad that we're in a society now, someone in a society, we just go, okay. You know, it was, you can tell the ones who it's shocked. And you're just like, oh, please. But I was one of the people who were just like, that's cool. She's a great performer. Rest in peace. She's
And it's a
amazing.
great like reminder that like looking at our history is often where we find like the people who went through this and the people that have the voice to explain where we need to go and where we're headed. Oftentimes, like we're like, oh
Yeah.
wait, they've had this conversation before. And Marinka is someone who we will probably include information in the chat when we debut this interview so that people can find more.
She has a
Her
book. I
incredible
don't know
career.
who is. Yeah, she has a book. I don't know who's selling the book now, but she definitely does have a book.
Yeah.
And I
So,
highly suggest reading the book of her life.
yeah, absolutely. We're gonna finish up with where people can see you next. What's your next project? I know you're headed to New York, so if you want to highlight maybe a couple
Ooh.
of things that you're doing there that people might be able to check out if they're in
Oh
the
my
area.
goodness. Well, first, I love to be found on Instagram. My handle's GiGiHolliday. Please do not forget those two L's. I am only 5 feet and I need the stilts. Okay. I need the height, baby. Don't do this to me. I will be in New York starting June 15th. Oh my God, saying it out loud makes it real. June 15th to July 19th. I will be performing at the Slipper Room, Bathtub Gin, Polite Society, Pandemic like Nurse Betty. It's all on my Instagram. So everywhere that I plan to be in New York, it's already on my Instagram. But most importantly, I'm probably going to be vlogging a lot of it. And if you like this interview and you like me, please don't be afraid to reach out and tell me what restaurants I should go to and what I need to do in New York.
That is actually perfect segue to our final question, which I've been asking everyone. What is one of your favorite meals to sit down and eat, or perhaps cook for yourself?
Ooh. Steak.
Cheesesteak is a good one. You talked about that
Cheesesteak.
earlier.
Yeah.
I know it's
Steak.
Philly. Sorry, DMV, but yeah.
I know. Philly do have some good cheesesteaks. Like DC, we have half smokes. Apparently, no one else has half smokes. We're the only place. That and mumbo sauce. We're the only place.
Mhm.
But my favorite meal to cook and eat, actually, or order, is steak. Steak only needs 3 seasonings: salt, pepper, garlic. Don't add no chimichurri sauce. Don't add none of that. Don't give me a herb garlic butter. No, you should have put that in there when you first started making it. Okay. But steaks. I love making them because it's like a science project of which cut of steak works better. Where on my hand does it feel like it's medium rare? It's the same there, there. What seasonings can I use? Is it better to use a cast iron skillet or do an air fryer or a regular frying pan, like things like that? I love that. Is it better on the grill? It's a
You
science
sous
project
vide.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the sous vide, like
Real fancy. Yeah.
really fancy. I'm looking at it though. I got the air fryer. So with the air fryer,
Yeah, I knew if I brought it up.
yeah.
Anyway, we will definitely
But
have you back for maybe like a food conversation. And then we were also talking about maybe just watching a burlesque or a circus performer pack up for a live show would be extremely cathartic and joyful for us to witness. So
there will
maybe
be
that'll be a future series we pursue.
that has to be.
Yeah,
I hope
absolutely.
if it's me, hope y'all enjoy watching me stop and scream the F bomb and then smoke a J and then go, all right, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Did I watch that? I don't know. Let's do it. But yeah, steak. And I love getting steak at restaurants because I love the question like, how do you like your steak? What is the temperature? And then just when you get it, it's the presentation of it all. And I do hate the look that waiters give me when I say no sauce. Please don't give me a red wine reduction. Don't give me none of that. Just give me the steak, baby. And they're just like, but the sauce is really, what did I say? Steak. And I'm just a steak and potatoes and vegetables type of girl. Blame my dad. Uh, and if not steak, burger. I'm such an all-American girl. Burger, fries, and a Coke.
Amazing. So that's where we're going to finish it. All American. Gigi Holiday is going to be touring New York City, delighting audiences. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And we look so forward to seeing you on a stage sometime soon.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been an honor and a pleasure. And so happy to see you again.
The
So long.
feeling's mutual. Thank you.